Welcome to the series Employee Health Services, Mind, Body, and Spirit. Employee Health is a section in the City of Albuquerque's Risk Management Division. Its mission is to promote a sense of community and increase wellness among city employees and their families by providing education and counseling about physical and mental health. And now, Mind, Body, and Spirit with Dr. Julia Bain.
Hello, this is Dr. Julia Bain, and welcome to Mind, Body, and Spirit. We are fortunate enough today to have the CEO of the Big Brothers Big Sisters program of Central New Mexico, Angela Reed-Padilla. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
It's so nice to see you again.
You as well.
And it was wonderful being at the luncheon last week, and we are going to talk about your recruitment efforts for men.
Yes.
But first, let's just start off with, who are you and what is your organization?
Okay. Well, I'm the CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters. Nationwide, we're 100 years old in our community. We are the premier mentoring organization serving youth, and we will be celebrating our 50th anniversary here in Albuquerque in about a year and a half. So that's very exciting.
Congratulations. You look so young.
Oh, I don't feel as young as I maybe look, but no. So I'm actually in my 21st year with the program, and I have such a passion for this mission. It's amazing what a difference it makes just spending a few hours in a child's life to, help them, keep them on a good path and get them graduated and on to great things in their life.
It takes one person. It takes you to change a life. It takes one person to change a life.
That's right.
And I just want to mention for the record, Angela is CEO of the Year nationally, which is that's a big deal. That's a really big deal. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And you were telling me earlier too, just a story about your own life and how, as a young woman, someone really influenced you and helped you become the woman you are today. Would you mind telling the audience that story?
Sure. So I think to do this is a challenging job, and I put a lot of energy in it over the years, but I think what feeds my passion is a realization for myself that I know a lot of people have, which is just that I would definitely not be where I was here today if someone hadn't stepped in, someone from outside of my family, and helped me. And in my situation, when I was in high school, my parents got divorced. My oldest brother was mentally ill. It was just a really tough time. Wow. I wasn't getting any attention. We lived in a very impoverished community, and I wanted to go to college, and I did well in school, but that wasn't going to be an option. And my teacher, my one teacher, Mrs. Bruni, just really stepped in, and she said, this is not acceptable. You have no vision for yourself. And so she made me apply for financial aid and fill out scholarship forms and apply to colleges and just doing that drill. And it changed, it changed my whole trajectory. It completely changed my path. And so that still inspires me today. And I think about people who helped me, and I want to give that back, and I want to give that opportunity for kids, because it doesn't take very much time to change that. And a lot of these kids are living in families where they're going to be first generation college. Even if their family does support them, they don't know how to get them, through and do all of those steps. And then a lot of families are just living in crisis, and they may have a parent in prison, or grandma's raising them, and so many situations where their path is kind of written for them unless something changes. It's not hard to tell where they're going to go. Someone at CYFD told me once, the best way to know which kids are going to end up in the juvenile justice system is to see what's happening with their siblings.
Interesting.
So that's where Big Brothers Big Sisters can step in real early and help those kids.
Thank you, Mrs. Brony.
Yes.
One English teacher, and now here you are today.
That's right. She has the indirect impact of what you can do is amazing. You'll never know. I've helped so many kids because of her, right?
Pay it forward.
Yep.
And at this luncheon that I went to last night, because I know you're actively doing everything you can to recruit men, several men stood up and told such motivational stories, including the gentleman who said, I grew up in Las Cruces on powdered milk and processed cheese.
That's right.
I didn't have anybody in my family graduate from high school, and I met somebody. I had a mentor who told me, you can do it. You can do it.
That's right.
And I not only graduated high school, I went to college, and then the light of the UNM Law School called my name and shined upon me. And so, now I'm an attorney. I mean, it was so inspiring. One person
That's right.
influenced him. And now here he is paying it forward and doing everything he can to help recruit men. And then another gentleman at the luncheon said, if you're not going to be a mentor for these young men, they have plenty of mentors on the street that are happy to go ahead and pick up that role. They will mentor
That's
them
right.
to rob and steal and assault and hurt people. They will mentor them in those kinds of ways.
That's right.
That was really powerful.
And I know that people have a lot of strong opinions in this community about some of the stuff we don't like seeing. We get national news because visitors come from out of town and their cars get broken into, and that makes everybody grumpy. And it's, if you have that complaint, if that is a concern to you, step in and do something, because you can really directly impact the choices that these kids make and where they're going to go in their lives.
Yeah, don't complain. Step up.
That's right.
And say to yourself, you know what? I have an obligation to make Albuquerque, New Mexico a better place because I have changed one life.
Yes.
And just to change the perspective like that.
Right. And that is one of the things that inspires me to do my job too. This is a very generous community, and so many people get involved.
Tell me more about how generous Albuquerque is.
Oh my
please.
gosh. Well, in Big Brothers Big Sisters alone, we have over 1,600 volunteers this year stepping forward to be volunteers, to spend time with a young person.
There we go.
In a small market where we just don't have a very big population in the entire state, that's really remarkable. We're one of the biggest organizations in the country for Big Brothers Big Sisters. And a lot of business leaders work with me, whether they're on my board or they're getting their employees involved, because they care. And I've had conversations with business leaders saying, why do you stay here in Albuquerque? If our economy is so bad, you could move to LA, you could move to Miami or someplace and have a stronger business, because I love New Mexico. I love my community. I want to make it better. And so like with UNM, Dr. Frank stepped forward and gave us over 100 employees to be volunteers.
Wow.
Sandia National Lab has 90. So you've got companies saying we care about this movement and we want to be a part of mentoring here.
Wow. That is so
And
cool,
now,
Angela.
we're launching our Bigs and Badges program.
Please,
And-
bigs and badges. Let's hear about it.
Okay, so this is
cool.
a partnership with our community police. And we are creating a partnership with APD, Bernalillo County Sheriffs, University Security Police, and 2 fire departments in Albuquerque and Bernalillo. And this is an effort to recruit these officers. It is a male-dominated career, right? And
Yes.
so we need men. We desperately need men to step forward. So it's a wonderful opportunity. And for the officers, it provides a chance in their life to just spend an hour today doing something that's going to make you happy. You're going to spend time with someone who loves you and just is so excited that you're there. And, that's a pick-me-up for them because they have really hard jobs. And then as the community, our officers are out there working every day, and it's difficult, and there's so much negativity. And this is a way to help the community appreciate what they're doing and really just to cross that divide. We want our kids to see, our police force as a positive force in their life. So we're excited about our Bigs and Badges program, and we hope to get a lot of officers involved in it.
Yeah, as a role model and not a threat.
That's right.
And then the officer gets to go ahead and bring a smile and bring wisdom and bring laughter and joy to a young man rather than putting cuffs on him.
That's right.
So for a man who wears a badge or somebody who just wants to be a big brother, can we go ahead and put that phone number out?
Absolutely. And actually what I tell people is the easiest thing, just Google Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Okay.
You put in your zip code and you'll find us.
Okay, nice.
And, yeah.
That's
and
easy.
There's lots of information right at your fingertips.
That's wonderful. I just love it. Why do you think participation for mentors and mentees can be life-changing? I mean, it sounds like it's such a great story and it's such a wonderful vision, but it's real.
That's right.
And what do you think? I mean, where's the shift? What do you think? How does the magic happen?
Well, there are so many different stories. So some of the kids we match as early as 6 years old, and some of the kids are older. I was just visiting with a mentee in our program, and he's going to be a senior this year, and he is mentored by an engineer at Sandia. And so his vision, even at a young age, he has a skill set for being an engineer, but he had no idea what to do with the skill or what he could ever do. And so we matched him with a volunteer who's an engineer. And so they've had this amazing relationship, and he's mentoring him and telling him what classes to take in high school and how to prepare for college and what jobs are likely, and they'll do some job shadowing together. And they filled out, this young man got the Daniels Scholarship, which I don't know if you know about that, but that's called kind of the catch-all. So it will pay for anything that this young man does not raise through scholarship or through the lottery fund. So his big brother helped him write for that scholarship and helped him work towards it. So that's just one example of what impact a mentor can make in someone's life.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. And during the Man Up luncheon, I remember one of the volunteers said that he hadn't even met his mentee yet, but knew that he was interested in mechanics and cars and stuff. So he drove his truck over there to change the spark plugs, right? I remember this story. It was so inspiring. And so he pops the hood and he says to the young man, he says, "So, yeah, I thought I'd, change a few spark plugs if you want to help me." And the kid is, he's looking into the engine, and he said, "Who made this?" And the speaker said, "Well, Ford Motor Company?" He said, "No. Who figured out how to put this together?"
Right.
And he said, "A mechanical engineer that works for Ford Motor Company." And the kid looks at him and he says, "I want to learn how to do this."
Yep.
He didn't want to just learn how to be a mechanic. He wanted to learn how to build an engine.
Right.
And that child is now in college.
Yep.
Studying
Awesome
mechanical engineering. I mean, it's magic.
Right. Well, there's a concept that we call sparks, and it's a very simple concept, and I think it really describes mentoring. So if you were matched with an 8-year-old, that kid has no idea what she's going to be when she grows up, but you look for things that spark her interest. So you might take her on a hike, and you might take her to Explora, and you might go watch the theater, and when she's like, "Wow, I'm so excited about this," whether it's a spark plug or whatever, then you can start doing more of that, and take her to the library and read about it and stuff. And so that's how easy it is to mentor. It's just introducing a child to new experiences, looking for what sparks with them, and kind of building on that.
Feed their enthusiasm.
That's right, yeah. Now I want you to know an important message for folks is we don't just have the child in mind when we do our programming. We also have the volunteer in mind, because we wouldn't have a program without the volunteer. So we want to create opportunities for every type of volunteer. So if you're someone that wants to get involved in a community-based program where you pick the kid up, you get to know their parents, you take them out in the community, we have lots of wonderful opportunities to do that. If you don't want anything to do with the parents, or you just need something structured, hello men, you don't want a lot of time, we have our Mentor 2.0 program, which a lot of busy professional men love in this community, and actually a lot of the officers are liking that option too.
Okay.
This is a technology platform, so the matches are actually communicating via a technology platform, so they're emailing each other over this curriculum and developing their relationship that way on a weekly basis, and then once a month they come together at the high school. So there's 6 or 7 events a year where you actually have to get in your car and drive somewhere for a couple hours, and the rest of the time, it's actually using technology, and you can do it from anywhere in the world to communicate with your little. So lots of guys are loving this. It's a wonderful way to have an impact on this high school student as they progress through high school and get ready for college and career. So, a lot of people think, "Oh, I'd love to be a volunteer, but there's no way. I don't want to spend my weekends or whatever." And
that's not what it's about.
Yeah. Unless you want to, which is, we have lots of opportunities. It doesn't take very much time.
Do the volunteers ever bring the young person into their family, or is there a boundary around that? I was curious about that. Like, do they have them over for Sunday dinner, or is that a no-no?
So we do have a lot of boundaries, and child safety is a very important part of our screening process. So we want to make sure that our volunteers are appropriate to be matched with the kids in our community. At the same time, when we have safely screened volunteers, they certainly interact with each other's lives. So I could tell you stories about, bigs who had mentors who had their mentees in their weddings, and vice versa. I've seen the mentees have the bigs in their weddings. And
what do you know?
I was at Rotary the other day, and this woman came up to me and she said, my little sister is 50 years old now, and we're still in contact. And she started to tell me about they send each other flowers every year on their match anniversary. Still,
cool
after all these years.
That?
So it has a very lasting impact sometimes.
That is very cool.
Yeah, I love hearing those stories.
She's 50 years old.
Yes.
So the woman, obviously a mature woman in Rotary, probably in her early 70s or 70 or something.
Yeah. Well, Duffy Swan, who is a wonderful philanthropist in our community, he founded Big Brothers Big Sisters way back in the day. And we reintroduced him to his little brother because they had fallen out of touch. So his little brother is also in his 50s, and he's a grandfather. And so they got together, and Duffy says, yeah, I was a big brother when I was like 2. So it's amazing, just these, and the impact, this person who was a young man is very successful, and he was actually a UNM athlete, and so it makes a big difference just having that person supporting them and listening to them and guiding them.
It sounds to me like one of the most important things you could ever do with your life.
I think so. And I think a lot of volunteers don't realize when they sign up how much it's going to impact them. So I can't tell you how many volunteers will just start telling me about we went to the movies and then we were talking and and they get so emotional, and they just realize, man, a lot of them will say, I think I'm getting as much out of it, if not more, than they are. It changes the way as an adult that you see our community and the way that you see yourself getting involved. It increases your empathy and makes you feel like you're really making a difference. And sometimes, sometimes it's just eye-opening to go, man, I had no idea what it's like being a kid in this community and some of the stuff these kids go through. My little sister, when I was matched with her way like 20 years ago, she was sleeping on the couch. She didn't have a bedroom. They didn't have a lock on the front door. People would wander in and out. I mean, these kids are so vulnerable, and yet they're so resilient. And it doesn't take very much, to encourage them.
Where is she today?
She is married and has 2 beautiful children and a job I think she's not crazy about right now. That comes and goes, yeah.
But you're still in touch.
We're still in touch.
And she sleeps in a bed and has a lock on the door.
Yes, she does, and a very supportive family.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, and her daughter is just a spitting image of her.
Oh, that's a great story. What other stories do you have?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'll tell you one that we love in Big Brothers Big Sisters, and someone was just reminding me of this the other day. There was a man, he was an older volunteer with his little brother, and this little brother tells a story as an adult, and he said, my big brother was the only constant in my life, and every day he was there. And he said, we used to meet every Saturday, and the big brother said, then my little brother told me, I don't want to meet on Saturdays anymore, I want to meet on Sundays. And the big brother said, why? And he said, because Sundays is when you spend time with your family, and I don't have a family. And so they would spend their time on Sundays. And the little brother would go over to the big brother's house and spend time with him and his wife and their kids. And so they stayed in touch. They were together matched for many years until the little brother graduated. And the big brother was in the little brother's wedding. And so they created this beautiful video. Actually, Kate Snow from CNN at the time did the expose on it. Nice. And so the man's like 90. Nice. And little brother's helping him walk, and they're visiting. And it's just, it's these beautiful relationships that, it changes these kids' life. There was one big brother who was supporting a little brother in foster care, and they were matched for about 12 years. And the little brother says, he was my one constant in life as I moved from home to home to home in all those situations.
No kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding. Wow. There's angels among us.
There are. And I will tell you, one of the things that just lifted my heart, this is one of the coolest things that's happened since I've been CEO.
Oh, good.
In Mentor 2.0, we had a vision to create this high school-based program to help these kids. You hear about the graduation statistics, 60% of our kids are graduating. What's happening to the rest of them? And it's just not a good situation. So we developed Mentor 2.0, which is now serving 600 students. And this year, we graduated our first class of seniors. So over 100 students. And I'm sitting in the audience watching these kids walk across the stage. Wow. And not just me, but about 40 of our mentors are sitting in the audience. So the school's never had anything like this before, where there's so many mentors and celebrating these kids. And it was just like so powerful. And of our kids, we had 108 seniors and 103 graduated on time. So It's like a 95% graduation rate out of our program. And if we can keep, volunteers in this program and keep moving this forward, it's making a huge impact. I want to expand. I want to be in more schools and be helping more kids because it makes a huge difference.
And of course, we want more children who otherwise might be just running the streets and dropping out of school in the 9th grade.
That's right.
We want you to have this opportunity to have a life that you can look back on when you're 90 years old and say, you know what, I have a legacy, I made a difference, I was a great person, I became an important influence in my community because I learned how to own my life in a positive way. How can we get those young men to you?
Right. So any family, again, just Google Big Brothers Big Sisters, and when you get on our website, you can apply to sign your kids up for the program.
Okay.
I'll give a shout out. We need more girls. We have a lot of women that sign up as volunteers that make great big sisters, and we never get enough girls. I think boys act out more at a certain age, or a lot of times in single parent families, it's the mom. So she thinks I'm here for my daughter, but I'm signing my son up, and the message is, it is a life-changing experience for girls. It delays, being a parent. It keeps these girls in school, gets them focused on career. So send girls our way if you're a counselor or a teacher. Consider our program, and
It helps them become fully developed and look to the future and say, you know what, I can do whatever I want.
That's right.
I could become CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters someday.
Yay.
Right?
That's right. Yep. And I tell kids when they're graduating out of our program, I said, go, you start college, you start your career, and then come back. I want to see you back here in a few years as a big brother or big sister and pay it forward.
And does that happen?
Oh, it's with our Mentor 2.0 program, it's going to be great. Yeah. I mean, these kids are already making pledges. And yeah.
Angela, it's also exciting. It's very exciting. I want to make sure I don't miss any questions here. Oh, the minimum commitment of 1 year makes sense. Tell us in your own words why committing a 1 year relationship is important. Why is it important to say, I can do this for a year?
Right. We are an evidence-based program. So we know from lots of studies and being a data-driven organization that that time commitment makes a difference, that consistency in a child's life, being someone who shows up. Sometimes the kid's not as nice as you would hope they would be. Sometimes they're not as grateful as you would hope they would be, because kids never are, right? And but to have a volunteer say, I'm making this commitment and I'm going to show up for this kid and I'm going to be there, even if I'm not getting the feels today, I'm still going to be there, and be there for them. And so that commitment makes a difference. And I will tell you, for most of our volunteers, they may sign up for a year, but they realize it's not that hard. It doesn't take that much time. I'm matched with a mentee at South Valley High School, and we'll be starting her junior year now. So it's our 3rd year together. And the time just flies by. And she's an amazing kid. I just feel so privileged to know her and be in her life.
Wow.
And she's a rock star. She catches for her varsity softball team, and she's awesome. Yes, I'm very proud of her.
Nice. Yeah, and I'm not going to give up on this child. I'm not going to give up. Like the gentleman you talked about who followed the boy through foster care, and he was the one constant in his life. And for a child to say, there's an adult in my life that's not going to give up on me, that believes I'm worth it, that believes I matter. I mean, talk about a shift emotionally and psychologically, spiritually, mentally, in every possible way. That shift does take place when you realize that somebody really believes in you.
That's right. And one of the things that we hear from our kids a lot, especially if they're involved in the social service, that kind of cycle at all, is they'll say, this person is coming, they're not getting paid. They're just showing up because they want to. And that's really an eye-opener for them, and that's meaningful to a child to know you don't have to be here. You're not my parent. You're not getting paid to do this, but you're here just because you care about me. Wow. And that is so powerful. That is really going to impact them for years to come when they think, why would I, step out and do something nice for someone? Because someone did it for me. Someone did it for me, and they didn't have to, but they cared about me.
And it changed me. It gave me hope and encouragement and vision and confidence.
Right.
I think when you have somebody in your life that says, I'm not going away, I believe in you, that just can make your confidence soar. And if you have confidence, you can do anything.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. Mind over matter.
Exactly. So we only have a few minutes left, and I don't want to leave out the most important thing. What wisdom do you have for the men watching the show to ponder when considering becoming a mentor?
I think about what it means to be a man growing up in this society.
I'm so glad you said that. Let's keep talking about that for 30 more minutes.
And I watch my husband, who is a father of 4, and he's a wonderful father. And just yesterday morning, my battery's dead. So he is teaching both of my kids how you jump a car, right? And so you take for granted those little things that a father does, that a man does in a child's life. And so many of our kids don't have that. They'll never know how to change out the air conditioner or how to work on their car or just do those basic things. And that's what these kids know and need. They need that male figure to talk about. I can tell my son, go ask your dad, when you start having the talk and stuff. And a lot of these boys don't have that. How do you be respectful to women? How do you have a positive relationship? How do you have social relationships that are positive? And so having a positive male influence, it makes such a difference. It will affect these men and how they father eventually, and in how they are as an employee and maybe a manager. So don't underestimate men, how important you are. We need you to show up, and we'll help. And to the women out there, bring your guys in. I recruited my husband to be a big brother because he's so awesome, and I drug him kicking and screaming. And he is starting senior year with his mentee. So they've been together for 4 years, and he's an awesome big brother. So.
Wow. I remember I had a client one time whose father beat his mother almost to death on a regular basis. And in just talking with this gentleman and learning about his life and his coping skills, etc., he sat there and he told me, he said, I told my son about what his grandfather did to his grandmother, and I told my son, before you ever raise a hand to a woman, you cut your hand off. You cut it off. Don't you ever. And somehow this man who grew up in this nightmare home where his mother was just horribly abused, I guess maybe he had a mentor. He had a man in his life, probably he must have, that said to him, shh, don't you ever. So we just have a minute. Final words of wisdom.
Right.
Oh, this has been so. I hope you'll come back.
Oh, thank you.
We have so
I would
much
love
more to talk about.
Well, my message for folks, if you're living here in Albuquerque and you care about this community, and I know a lot of people do, we're offering you an opportunity to get involved. It feels good to be a mentor. It's important. You'll make a difference. You'll be happier at the end of the day. The next generation will be better off for the decisions you make about volunteering today.
Exactly. Rather than complain about kids in the streets, help get them off the streets.
Yep.
Help show them, how to be a good man.
Definitely.
You are a rock star.
So are you, Julia. Thank you.
Thank you
It's been
so
a pleasure.
much. Thank you so much for coming, and I do hope you'll come back. Maybe in 6 months.
Yes, with some good news and more calls to action.
Perfect.
I always have both.
Thank you, Angela. You're
Thanks,
a delight. And thank you for watching. This is Dr. Julia Bain. Until next time, be happy and be well.
This has been Employee Health Services Mind, Body, and Spirit. For more information, call the City of Albuquerque's Employee Health Services at 768-4613. Let the Employee Health Services staff let you be your best at work, at home, and at play.